Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you for another Appalachian Trail community news, through hiker update, and trail information. Well, I hope you've had a great week. Been pretty bluebird skies, although we have had some bad tornadoes come in, a little bit of bad weather on the trail. But before that, we had some great days, and it looks like we got some great days coming up. But we got a lot of information for you, a lot of stuff about the hikers, so let's go ahead and get on with that right away. So we got McDuck the Okie and Jeff from Kansas. They have passed the 300-mile mark and on their way to Irwin, Tennessee, and probably there by now. Fortune is in Pearisburg area. Stretch is in North Carolina. YOLO and Danger have made it to the Marion, Virginia. Heisenberg is out of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and in Hot Springs. Fran and Mike, they did make it to Damascus, but because of the weather there, they said everything was totally booked, and so that's kind of where the bubble is at, or at least a good frontal section of it is around the Damascus area. So now from there all the way back into really Georgia, bad weather comes up, hostels are going to be slam full. So they were able to find a place because they already had reservations, but not all of them take reservations. So keep that in mind. Get off the trail. If you're wanting to get off the trail for bad weather, get off sooner rather than later so that you will have a dry place to stay if that's what you're looking to do. Goose and Maverick, they have made it to Hot Springs. They said North Carolina has been sweet to us this section. Any blowdowns were cut right out of the way. They said the trail maintainers have gotten there now that it's starting to warm up. They've gotten out there, definitely there, and they are very much appreciated. Lone Wolf is now blue and is near the Knock. Says Trail Magic has been epic, and he is meeting the nicest people in the world, and has been an amazing experience so far. So he's just gotten to the Knock. He's still in North Carolina. I hear this repeatedly from everybody, and just think about it. They still got 12 states to go, right? So that is awesome. Calamine, Eddie, and Adam, they have made it to Uncle Johnny's there in Irwin. And they said all three are feeling great. They got their trail legs now, which means they also got their hiker hunger, and they're starting to do 20 milers. So very cool. Patriarch, he's in the Smokies. Topo is checked in as an oboe hiker number 8 at Harper's Ferry, and he is now in Roxylvania. Bearded Frog is through the Grayson Highlands and on his way to Marion. He says in Virginia he's increased his daily mileage minimum up to 15 miles, unless his body says otherwise. So he's so far so good, and that's important to listen to what your body's telling you. Feeling healthy, and he has sent his heavy winter clothes and bag liner home, which gave him 3.5 pounds lighter pack. Now, that being said, it may be just a little early, a couple weeks early, to be sending home all your winter stuff. We start getting some cold snaps out there, and we do here in April, and even the beginning of May, there may be some issues out there for you. So just keep that in mind. Don't want anybody getting hypothermic or anything like that. Blacksburg, he has made it to Boots Off Hospital. Bear Hang has made it past the Quarterway Tree and is north of Pearisburg. He says hostels north of Marion are empty. Staying by himself at Burt's Garden tonight, but he says he highly recommends that hostel there, and he's already in Pearisburg by now. Says the river fording there, Nobo there at mile 563 is just above the ankle, so it's easy. Of course, we've had this tornadic activity move through, liable to be a little higher by now. He also sent a message to Trash Hiker and says, let him know I have his hat. I'm trying to catch up to him. So we'll hear a little bit back from Trash Hiker in just a minute. Mama Nita and Tupac, they have made it to Hot Springs. Splash Titus and Stella. Stella's a dog, not the one that picked up the dog, but this is Stella the dog. Has crossed the North Carolina border, and they are probably in the Knock by now. Daniel from the UK, he is on the trail probably somewhere around Dix Creek, and he sent in a shot there to me of the sign-in sheet at Amicalola Falls State Park, and the pack weights in his group were fairly heavy. They were in like the mid-30s, with a couple of them actually pushing 40 pounds. And then a few of them were in the mid-20s, so none of them were really in the low 20s. I know they're probably carrying their winter loadout, but still 40s is getting pretty high. those will probably get lower as soon as they hit Neil Gap there. But in any case, we'll see how that goes for them. Hiram Hikes, he is past the 500-mile mark, heading north. DJ has hit the Georgia-North Carolina border, and he has been been hiking with 2 easy and 8th gear. And he says he may have a new trail name now, and that's Dos Entrates. Now, he claims that's Spanish for 2 entrees. I'm not Spanish, so I have no idea if he's correct about that. Dos, yeah, that's 2. Entrates, okay, maybe. But anyway, it doesn't matter what he says that stands for 2 entrees, and that's because every town he gets 2 entrees, and he eats them all. Now, remember, he is just coming into North Carolina, so it sounds like he showed, if he's eating 2 entrees, sounds like he showed up to the trail with hiker hunger. So in any case, he's just now getting on into North Carolina, and and he is probably into Franklin by now. Trash Hiker is at 4 Pines Hostel, and he sent a message back to Bear Hang and said sent his telephone number to him and said, hey, I'd like to get my hat back. I'll come give you some trail magic. Here's my number. Call me and we'll meet up somewhere. So that's some dialogue going back and forth between the two through the channel here. So if I didn't already have a trail name, I think I would probably take up the trail name Western Union. Now, if you don't know what Western Union is, you know if you know, right? That comes from my generation. Beaker, Lost and Found, Hyde, Pigpen, and Wedge, they have made it to Damascus, and they said that it was full there. Lookout Hostel in Pennsylvania, they have reported their first NOBO of the season, and that was Anita. Anita's a guy, and he started February 3rd. They've also had a second hiker, and that was Ghost, and said that Ghost did an accidental 53-mile day somewhere around Boiling Springs. Now, I don't know how you do a 53-mile day, much less do it accidentally. But in any case, that was the story that they told. They did come back and said back later that he's not carrying shelter, and he's not carrying, so he doesn't have a hammock, doesn't have a tent. He's relying on shelter to shelter. And what happened was when he got from one shelter, it was full. He hiked on to the next shelter. It was full of weekend warriors, as they say, so probably a Boy Scout troop or something, and he had to go to the next shelter. So, and then he wound up coming into a hostel. So I guess that's how you accidentally do 53 miles, but I don't know how you do 53 miles in a day. Maybe if anybody out there has done 53 miles in one day, leave a comment down below. You get an add a hiker for that. Frodo and the Ring has made it to the partnership shelter. They got new shoes and a liar bag, so they are whistling Dixie on up the trail. Smoke has made it on trail. Picnic is around Hot Springs. Ross 08 is in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Rock and Roll from the class of 2022 is back on trail in Caledonia State Park. And looks like he is going to be starting a through hiker over again. Cobweb Rose, Snapshot, Mountain Crusher, and Lucky, they have made it to the Knock. Wings made it to Franklin. Oz is somewhere around Irwin, and he's also picking up the daily miles. I remember he's trying to do the trail in 100 days, so he's going to have to pick them up quite a bit. He did run into some subos that are still finishing their hike, Rainbow and Irish, and what he says, and I believe this is correct, is the last subo, and that's No Rush. Didn't say where he ran into them, though. Broomhilda and Magilla, they are flip-floppers, and they have now gotten on trail, and they want to give a shout-out to some awesome staff and shuttle drivers from Stanimals there in Waynesboro, Trail Angel Pam, and a fabulous shuttle driver that they had, Wayne in Ecton. So you won't find a kinder, more accommodating driver from Wayne. So that's awesome there. Frostbite is finishing the Smokies. Snowbeard is getting back on the trail after some back issues and some sciatica, so he's got that straightened out. And he's got saving about 3.5 pounds by getting lighter gear. So very quick story. I've had sciatica before. I got it in Hawaii. I was on a mission trip, and we went to the beach there, the Honolulu beach, Waikiki Beach there in Honolulu. And you could rent a surfboard for $5 for an hour. I'm not a surfer by any means, but I wanted bragging rights saying I surf Waikiki Beach. So I rented a surfboard and wrenched my back getting up on that dang thing on the first wave and had sciatica for the whole trip. But anyway, short conversation there about me having bragging rights for surfing Waikiki Beach in Hawaii. Evac, he's made it to the trail. Jersey and Dobb, they're around the Hampton area, and they met up with Nani and Couch to Trail. And it looks like everybody had a ball singing karaoke there at the station at 19E. It looked like there was a lot of hikers up there listening to them. I'm glad that they have decided not to quit their day job of hiking because they would not make it as a karaoke singer. Boston has made it to Weary Feet Hostel. Hardy Soul is got started on Springer, and has hiked. Now he started in Springer on September of 2022. So he's going to do what I plan to do on my through hike, and that is start the fall before, take winter off, and then come back and finish up the trail before Katahdin closes and before your year's up. So he started September 30th, 2022. Hiked to Harper's Ferry. He's gotten back on now, and after he took the winter off, and so he has already hiked now. Started in the beginning of March. He's hiked to Harriman State Park in New York, and thankfully he says he is finished with Rocksylvania. Diving Swan is around the Mount Rogers Marion area, and Blue Hat Hiker, who's a new updater on the channel, has made it past the quarterway tree there. And I don't know if they moved it this year or not, but he's made it past it. Said they've had no problems getting hostels or resupplies or shelters and sites. There's usually only a few folks at the shelters and sites, so he's way up there, really in front of the bubble. He started February 23rd, and he's hiking with the happy camp hares. So I don't know if that was a misspelling. It was just campers or camp hares, but for now they're camp hares. Hares is in bunnies, like Hares. And then we did have a hiker that got off trail. Jack Pine got off trail at Neal Gap. Said the days he spent on trail were fantastic. He met some great people. Said the hiking was tough but rewarding. But he learned that the through hike was not for him. So he is continuing to hike on the trail. Matter of fact, he went up to Shenandoah and finished the Shenandoah in the next couple of weeks. So and that's great. No point in staying on the trail if you're just not having a good time. You're not feeling it. So that's awesome. But it's really even more awesome that he still continues to get on still section hikes. So that's pretty neat. So some hikers from our support list that are getting on trail next week. We've got Keelan Doyle, Gimpy, Ultra, Silva, Tobias Hans, Erica Waskowitz, Southpaw, Hill Dog. Hope it doesn't rain. Yeah, forget that. You're on the Appalachian Trail. You're going to be cold and wet. Robert Ward and The Incident. So those folks are all on our list. They are all starting this upcoming week. If you want to be on that list, and that's my Ramdino's hiker support list, where folks can go and find your social media and follow you and keep you pumped up all the way throughout the course of your trip. Then the description's down below, and if you're a through hiker and you want to add yourself to that list, that link is down below as well. So go and check out all those folks, you guys out there in the hiker community, and through hikers, if you like, go check out those guys and go give them add a hiker on their social media. Whatever that may be, and that could be YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, trail journals, you name it, whatever's out there, there are folks that are on it. So registrations, we've got up to somewhere around 2,000 folks have stepped off as of this week. So we have probably by now breached that 2,000 hiker mark. I think it was yesterday we were up around 1894, so that what's that, like 116 more people that would need to get on. So maybe not this weekend, but within the next couple days, if not this weekend, we'll be over 2,000 Nobos that have stepped off at Springer or Amicalola Falls State Park. And we are coming into the last couple weeks of the Nobo season in earnest. It'll keep petering on out here till it peters out to nothing sometime in May. But after this weekend, there'll be less and less people that are starting their Nobo hike. This was probably the last big weekend for Nobos getting started. So registrations are still up just a little bit. We had 46 more people that registered Nobo, up around 2,889 from last week. 7 more flip-floppers, up around 186, and 4 more Sobos, and we're up to 123. So we gained 57 registrations from last week. So we're up around now 3,198 hikers that have registered their hike with the ATC. Now, about 10 or 25% hikers don't register their hike. And I'd be interested to know, that data comes from actual people at the ATC, depending on who you ask. But if you're a hiker out there on trail and whether you're this year 23 or some other year, let me know if you registered your hike. Now, certainly, they haven't always taken registrations online. And I get that. But particularly since they've started taking them over the last 5 years, if you're a thru hiker and you didn't register your thru hike, let me know in the comment section down below. Be interested to kind of look at that. So we got some channel happenings going on. A subscriber asked a question for hikers that are insulin dependent out there and other medications that require, to be chilled. What do you do when you're out there on trail through hiking? And I would put out there even section hiking, particularly like diabetes, that if you're insulin dependent and you have to give yourself a shot and it's insulin that has to be refrigerated, how do you do that? Or has to be chilled? How do you do that? And whatever other medications out there, how do you get by with that? And then a viewer, Ginger sent in a picture of her cats watching my update. So that's pretty awesome. That my channel also appeals to four-legged folks, right? Here's a picture of her cats watching my update. They always see the back of their head, so I guess they're focused in on me. I'm glad to see that. My cats usually have nothing to do with me until it's time to be fed. They're usually just hanging out in the crate, and no, they're not locked up in the crate. They just go and get in the crate. So I'm glad somebody's cats enjoys watching me. And then also I want to thanks to Milan Busick. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that name right, Milan, but Milan sent in a super thanks, so greatly appreciate that super thanks. And super thanks is just a way of supporting this channel monetarily. You can do that, and that's down below in the right below the video. There's a link that you can click on that and send in whatever you'd like to send in to support the channel. And of course, you can always do it through Venmo, or you can become a Patreon member, and that link is up in the border, and also all those other links are down below. So thanks a lot for everybody that supports this channel. Your subscriptions and your thumbs up and your comments, those support the channel as well, and so I greatly appreciate that. The idea is that more people that give a thumbs up or subscribe, the YouTube algorithm will get that out there to more people in the hiker community, and so I can help more people, help more through hikers, and just help more people within the hiker community in general, the more people that know about it. So thanks a lot for everybody out there that supports that. So a little bit of news we got out there. The Craig Creek Bridge on the AT is closed indefinitely. Apparently it's unstable now. I went through it, I guess in the fall or late summer, and didn't notice any kind of problems with it. But apparently it is, and that's around Nobo mile 690. So the ATC says don't use the bridge. You can ford it ford the creek 100 yards upstream. Of course, if there's a lot of water moving through there, you're not going to be able to do that. And they say that what you can do is you can take a detour on a road walk, and so the road walk will detour you for a pretty good ways. I don't know, it looks like maybe 5-10 miles off of the actually AT, and it's going to be a road walk there. But any detour that is put out there like that by the ATC, if you take that detour and you still want to get your 2,000 miler certificate according to the ATC, and if that's important to you to be recognized by the ATC, then those detours, because they're a bona fide detour, then you would still be recognized for your 2,000 miler certificate for the ATC. If you can ford it, I would ford it. because that's a really pretty section that you're going to miss if you don't do it. One, you're going to be up on a ridge line, so there's several miles of flat walking on a ridge line, some really good views up there. You're also going to miss the Audie Murphy Memorial, and that's a memorial put up to Audie Murphy. He crashed his airplane and died there, and so or near that particular point. But I went up there, camped out at that Audie Murphy when I was doing a section through there. And I got to tell you, it was a very spiritual experience for me while I was up there. I haven't dropped that video yet. I want to do that sometime here in the near future, but it's pretty neat to go up there and just see all the attributes that people have put around there in remembrance of Audie Murphy. A lot, mostly, of course, veterans and stuff. So it was really neat to see that up there. Really neat experience to camp right there at the memorial site. So if you can ford that creek, by all means, I would say go up there and try to do that. And then the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal National Association Park has issued a rabies advisory. So that's a C&O Canal that's on the trail north side of Harper's Ferry. They've had some raccoons that have had some rabies, and they're not right there on the trail. They're actually a little north of the trail. I think they said they're a little west of the trail. But in any case, if they're close to it, then they could migrate to that. The C&O Canal trail walk through there was probably hurt my feet more than any other section of the trail, because it's several miles and it's like you're walking on a road. I mean, it's gravel, but it's hard packed gravel. So I will always remember that and it was at the end of a very, very long day. So my feet with my plantar fasciitis were killing me that day. But in any case, that's at Nobo Mile 1026 is where they have that out. So we had some new churches sign up, and my church list. The church list, of course, is churches that will meet you at a trailhead somewhere on Sundays or Wednesdays if they have services, and will bring you to church. Maybe give you a place to shower or a place to tent out in their yard or what have you. So we've had not a lot of churches, not as much as I would like, but we have had some sign up for that. So I greatly appreciate that. We had this past week the Elizabethan Christian Missionary and Alliance Church signed up, St. John's Episcopal Church signed up, and New Bethel Church signed up. So thanks a lot to those churches that came on board and are willing to help out Hiker Trash get to services on Sundays and Wednesdays if you have those. Greatly appreciate that. The link to put yourself on that list and the link to the list is also down in the description section down there. So I hope more churches out there, more church members will go and sign their churches up for that. And that's open to all denominations, not just Protestant. Noro season is coming up, so norovirus typically starts hitting when we start getting warmer weather and the bubble in earnest is moving through the Smokies, because people are so jam-packed up together and they're eating out of food bags or they're getting snacks from each other. You don't wash good on trail, you get the norovirus. You don't want the norovirus. This is kind of what you look like if you've got the norovirus, and you're going to look like this right here sitting in a hostel. So keep that in mind. Some hostels may not take you in if you have the norovirus. I know there's some there in Roan Mountain that wouldn't take people in because it can spread throughout the population of a hostel. They would get you to a local motel or something, but not necessarily in the hostel. So hikers out there, haven't heard of any norovirus hitting yet, but if you're on the trail, let me know when it starts hitting so I can let others know. Also, I haven't had any bear reports, haven't seen any new bear reports on the ATC website either. So let me know what the bear population is doing out there, if you've had any close encounters with bears or anything like that on the trail. And then I plan to get on the trail next 2 to 3 weeks, probably the weekend of the 22nd, and I'll be starting at McAfee Knob and heading north probably for 35, 40 miles, something like that. So if you're going to be in that section of the trail, hopefully I'll run into you. Look forward to meeting you out there. By all means, come up and let's chat and maybe get to hike with some folks. So, folks, that's all I got this week. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.